Hello, everyone. It's me, Donovan Moore. I'm here with my co-host, sub-host, I'd say, Ayush
Oh,
Asmani,
wow. Okay. Hello,
and
Donovan.
our special guest, Nathan Weisskopf. And we are currently hiking the Jewel Canyon Trail at the Jewel Cave National Monument here in the great state of South Dakota. So, for all those listeners of ours from that state, be sure to give us that big like and subscribe. Anyway, we've been doing a road trip. So we started out a couple days ago in St. Louis, Missouri. We trekked through Omaha, Nebraska, and Kansas City on the way, in reverse order, actually. Do love Omaha, Nebraska. That's going to be a whole future episode. And then we went up to Sioux Falls, Sioux City, and finally Rapid City and Mount Rushmore. Now we're on this hike. And all this traveling, all this planning, and the excellent execution of every step of our trip, I'd say, has got us thinking about life plans. And, I think there's some metaphor that we're going down this trail, and I didn't pay attention to the last sign, so I don't actually know where we're going. Which is how I feel about life a lot. What do you think, Ayush?
I mean, walking down this path, there's obviously one path, but there's also little spritzes of grasses that are just combing down the middle, and it kind of is like showing that we're all taking our own path in life.
Yeah.
And
we're heading in the same direction. There's only one you can go, but...
yes. See, it's really interesting because, more generally about life, Donovan, you and I have had these conversations, and we, fundamentally differ on a lot of outlooks on life, especially how we handle money, how we want to handle our career, what exactly we're expecting from life, and when we want to accomplish certain things. And, I mean, especially on this trip, it's made me realize, because I've had these conversations with some of the people that we've seen on this trip, but I think having this conversation in a more open format where we can just kind of freely talk about it in the absence of everything but just nature would maybe offer different thoughts, maybe offer different opinions on this matter.
I think the use of the term just nature is kind of interesting there, because deviating from the main point of the episode, it is just astoundingly beautiful.
It is.
Which is why I pity the fact that we don't still make YouTube videos, but also we don't have storage on the phones to produce that at this moment anyway.
We do have storage on the phones, but the issue is that two of the people here do not have enough battery. I have enough battery, but I do not have enough storage. And lo and behold, no one wants to watch a trail hike video where the camera is shaking every 5 seconds. Well, not even every 5 seconds, every other step, because, no one walks just perfectly straight without any movement.
Do you think you would pass a field sobriety test sober?
Most likely.
Nathan? 50-50? Yeah, I think I could.
You think?
I think I could drive drunk too, though. That's a joke. Don't drive drunk. It's very bad. Very bad.
Oh my god.
So my view on life, I definitely, the goals that I have in life for myself are very tangentially connected to having money. You need money to be secure and pursue things. But
100%. I agree with you.
There's not very many status symbols or such that I desire that per se cost much money. And though I benefit, of course, from coming from a family where, despite some ups and downs, overall, I've had basic stuff provided for. So my view, partially because of some of those downs, is to not really focus on earning a lot of money and to save very heavily what I do earn. And so to live very meager and to prioritize things like time outdoors. To get as beautiful scenery as I'm getting right now, that does take some money, some trips planning like we had to do for this. In general, in most parts of this country, most parts of the world, if you have enough money to get your basic needs set, you'll be able to find ways to enjoy simple things, enjoy simple time outside, and enjoy time with other people. And so because of that, my career goals have really come down to searching for what I'm most interested in and what most enjoy. And there hasn't been a lot of urgency for me in that search, because I know I have my basics covered right now and have fallback plans if I'm not successful in finding the thing I most enjoy.
Mm-hmm. And I think the way you and I differ there is that you are still on your search, and you're accepting that there may be a lengthy timeline, but as long as I get there at some point, it's okay. For me, my priority from day one has been that search. And I finally found it, and and I finally put myself on a path that accomplishes exactly what I am looking for, right? I think the way you and I really, really differ, especially in terms of career, especially in what will bring us satisfaction innately, for me, it is making sure that I can not only provide for my family, but also live in a degree of comfort where I can actually establish a generational wealth. And I think generational wealth is really, really important for my family because I'm an immigrant family, right? I really don't have that many assets here. My mom was the one to come over here. I'm the first person who's getting educated in the United States, and I'm going to a good school to make sure that happens. But at the same time, my mom is investing so heavily in me, so heavily in my education, that I want to make sure that I set myself up in a way that not only can I take care of my mom in a way that I believe that she should be treated, because I want to live a certain lifestyle, but on top of that, I want to make sure that I bring enough wealth to the family long term that my kids, even if in the worst situation possible, they have enough inheritance to live a comfortable life and put the family back on track. I think it's this like view of the American dream. I am very much understanding of the idea the American dream is dead to a certain extent, but I do believe that there are certain steps that you can take to really reorient yourself towards achieving that dream.
Towards an individual's American dream.
Yes, and that is really my view on this. Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that the American dream has shifted from like an individual's place in a story of communal success to solely an individual success is one of the reasons why the dream is dead, both for the community and for so many of those individuals. But I think you're right. We do have a system where however hard it gets, however many unnecessary barriers that are put up, it is still possible. And I think, your dedication to medicine, the field you found, and working hard very towards that, is definitely like a very clear example of how it is possible for someone of moderate means, a recent immigrant family, to put themselves on a path for generational wealth.
Yes,
my family also definitely benefits from generational wealth that has been passed down. But we, in a very weird way, where my grandfather left a very poor situation in rural, the Boot Heel of Missouri, Hornersville and Kennett, and became a traveling salesman for Sears. Worked his way up the corporate ladder there, and then had 5 kids, scattered across the country. Another interesting thing about my family is how scattered we are compared to a lot of others, which has pros and cons. But this idea of generational wealth, I just don't think is emphasized for us. It's really been, the parent provides for their kids for the young and then sets them free, and we haven't relied that much until the very end of life, like hospice care. On the kids providing for the parents, or on the kids providing for parents providing for their kids' success once they're out of the house. Gifts end at 25, and then you're on your own.
See, the thing is that I don't think my mom would ever end the support that she would want to provide, right? Just because it is so built in that your parents should be taking care of you. My parents plan to take care of me through med school. They plan on taking care of me after med school until they are at an age where they cannot take care of me, and then I have to reciprocate.
And then it transfers.
Right?
And your grandma currently lives with you. Kind of an example of that transfer is taking place.
It's this constant transferring that goes on and on, right? My grandma take care of my mom up until a point that then my mom had to take care of my grandma, right? And now my mom takes care of me, so she's taking care of 2 people at once. Right? Until I have to then take care of my mom. And then I would have to also take care of my kids when I eventually do have them, hopefully.
Yeah. And if anyone's wondering, you're about to get some nice mud ASMR, everybody. Nathan, our fearless leader, he's taking a smart way around. I don't care about these shoes. I bought them for $10 from a thrift store. And I am just marching through the mud.
So which way do we want to take here?
Nathan, if you're wondering what he's been doing, instead of talking, it's been reading the signs.
Okay.
He's pointing.
Alrighty.
We're looking at a clear-cut hill. I'm not exactly sure the specifics of the management of this specific national forest.
It's a service trail. Really. Our 2 splits in the road have been the service trails, and this is the continuation of said path. Okay.
Service trails for the clear-cutting operation or for park management's separately?
Could not tell you.
Yeah. Are we off the ground of the monument or into the national forest, or are we still on the monument?
This is still the trail that we began on.
Interesting.
A little different.
I think could kind of touch in a little bit on that difference in opinion. I think Donovan, that difference really occurs with what is the fallback. There's very limited family that I have here in the United States. It's just me, my mom, my grandma, and my uncle who lives in New Jersey, and his side of the family. My mom and my uncle have splits there, so it's kind of like difficult to really for me to ever like really fall back on that side of the family. I barely know my cousins. I really don't. Right? So it's just really my close family that I live with is me, my mom, and my grandma.
So you really keep a nuclear core down
Yes.
through the generation.
Yes. So it's sad that it's this way, but it is this way, right? And I have to deal with it, right? If the things that I do are not in that mindset of like go, 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 achieve, 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 any stalling of that,
You're a single link in a chain, especially as an only child.
Any stalling in that puts pressure on my grandma, puts pressure on my mother, and puts more pressure on me because now I have to deal with the pressure of both of them, and then on my career as well. Right? It's like the same reason why like it was really difficult for me to understand the concept of a gap year until really I got into college and understood people's like different situations and everything, because I was just so isolated in my situation that I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine taking a year off because that's going to put so much strain on my family. Like even if I would be at home, like the fact that I'm not pursuing my education would like provide like this sort of internal stress for my grandma and my mother, who are a lot more conservative than I am.
No, I think that's very interesting. Like I said, I have that family, those siblings.
Yeah.
Every generation has had multiple siblings, and we kind of disperse, and so that generational pass through not nearly as important, but that sibling support, that cousin support, even.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of, my mom's family is very complicated, but it's all, even step siblings, half siblings, all support each other. And on my dad's side, where it's more, just a lot of siblings, but less complicated, it's even more strong of a full support.
Yeah.
In fact, on the dad's side, we have this family motto, or the song by the Bare Naked Ladies, "If I Had $1 Million," and at every family gathering, we'll stand in a circle and we'll sing and dance to that song together. And that the whole real premise we have to that song is, we don't all need $1 million. We have each other. We have the resources of each other. And so it's not entirely like a money doesn't matter anthem in the end. Like the song, in a joking manner, does address all the perks of having money, but it kind of shows how all of our resources are shared in a way. We're all here to support each other financially, emotionally.
Yes.
And essentially, like that song became the motto when my grandpa was at the hospital, and we didn't have medical personnel. We weren't going to be the medical personnel seeing them in the family, so there's nothing we could do practically, but we could be their emotional support, and that's kind of a key part of the bond.
Yeah, I think in that collectiveness is really, really important. But I think when you mentioned that, my view of that individualistic American dream is like what's like wrong with the American dream per se, or like what's shifted is, I mean, that's the case here, right? Yeah. I am in a very individualistic situation, and that's why I have centered the American dream in such a way to constantly rely on that, like, okay, I need to take these steps. I need to actively do this so that my family long term can be better off. Because if I crash, what happens to my grandma? My grandma can go ahead and get supported by my uncle. What happens to my mom? My uncle will like probably support my mom, right?
Despite risks?
Despite risks, because they're like blood, right? They will somewhat support each other, right? But if something happens to me in 20 years, and like my uncle will not be in the position to support because he's probably going to be retired. My mom's going to be retired. If something happens to me, I really don't have anyone to fall back on. Yeah. Right? I literally only have me and my mom. I'm not close with my cousins. I don't have siblings, right? The only people I could rely on at that point are my like direct family, my mom and my grandma, hopefully, and then just my friends. And I hope that I have friends at that time that are willing to put themselves in uncomfortable positions and are able to put themselves in uncomfortable positions to help me out. But if I don't, like I really am in a bind. So that sense of like whatever happens will happen because we have togetherness. That togetherness is lacking. So whatever happens is a very flawed mindset.
Yeah.
because like if I have no control in that way, because I'm just accepting like if I get hit by a bus, I'm gonna get hit by a bus. That's like, right. And no
If
one,
you're gonna be in a Mean Girls movie, you're gonna be in a Mean Girls movie.
yeah. If I'm gonna break my ankle on a trail.
So I guess it kind of changed topics a little bit with that like family view. How does that impact what you look for, how you make friends, and what you look for, how you find a partner, like a romantic partner, a life partner?
I think my like looking for those things has fundamentally changed since I went to college. I very much enjoy intellectual conversations, and I think I've kind of been really spoiled by it because I've been surrounded by people who like somewhat also enjoy that. So like getting used to like a partner who might not enjoy that same level of degree of like conversations or same topics would be very difficult. So I've like
pointless like debates for fun.
yeah, like that BS,
hyperbolic
right?
devil's advocate stuff.
Yeah, and it's just like
Nathan is laughing because he knows we did this in the car, and he is not one of the people who, well, driving through a very scenic, peaceful, serene sight, wanted to hear us have a hypothetical, stupid, as over the top as possible style argument.
yeah, and I mean, just the ability to do that with my partner would be absolutely amazing.
So you're saying I would make a great life romantic partner for you?
Unfortunately, as much as you'd like that, I'm gonna say no today.
Today, he left the door open, folks. Okay, you heard it here, folks.
You're right. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
But,
the good Lord take you away.
So I think it's very much made it a little bit difficult, especially in like the partner setting. So it's just like the views, what I'm exactly looking for has like changed over time. But I think also on top of that, in terms of friends, I think my search for friends has really come down to, I would rather not have a lot of friends. I would rather have a close-knit set of friends who are willing to support me. And I think that's definitely been like difficult here and there, because there have been phases in my life where I've kind of had that like group of friends, and not necessarily that close-knit group of friends. High school, for example, when my closely knit friends all kind of like dispersed throughout at the end of middle school and the beginning of high school. They all moved away. So I was really just left with having to rely on my like broader friend group, right? In college, one of the big things for me was that I had this set knit of friends, right? And then that has started to disperse, which makes me a little bit upset, but I also completely understand, because the friends that I made in college are so like different than I would have imagined because of COVID. And the way that we also made friends was so weird, because we were like put into this Zoom with like these little groups at one point. We were all like assigned different groups for our like floors and stuff. And I met one of my first friends that way. I also met another friend through Facebook because we were brown, and he's like another close person that I like have known, and it's kind of went on and off with.
Sorry to interrupt, but the rocks across
I
that
didn't even
bridge,
notice
it just really looked like someone put them in, there's a wall. I don't know whether that's true or not, or if that's a natural formation.
That would be crazy if that was a natural formation.
And it just looks so evenly. But it's hard to say. Very overgrown over there. Could be a retaining wall. When they cut the trees down, you no longer have roots retaining the slope. So put up a little stone retaining wall. But maybe it's hard to say. There's very rough hewn rocks. So the rocks at least were probably in the area naturally.
Unfortunately, this kind of looks like a scene out of the Lorax though, because like all the trees are stripped.
Yes.
None of them have like anything. And
no Mufflewuff swans are singing.
And it's just like a bunch of pieces of timber that are just like left lopsided, like barely sticking up out of the ground. Everything looks super unhealthy besides the grass. So
I mean, I'll look into it. I have to hope the National Park Service knows what they're doing and how they're managing it. But I know if they strike a balance between industry needs and their park, protection needs, and whether or not they're doing that right in this case, I aesthetically, not as an expert in this, doesn't look like they're mastering the aesthetics piece. But maybe ecosystem-wise, it's healthy. It's hard to say. Forest fires do clear areas naturally. All sorts of things can happen naturally. That may be kind of mimic in how they manage it. But I don't know. That could be a whole other interesting topic. That's what Nathan wanted to talk about. But with no sources, we didn't really have the
ability to truly have that discussion today.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's really cool that you and I have different life opinions. But the opinion that I have is something that like I don't think I could really ever abandon, especially in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an opinion that's really kept me going. It's kept me very motivated and kept me like from just like accepting things. It's like this unwillingness to settle. And every single time I've like kind of gotten close to like, oh, I'm just gonna let life take this course, it's never really turned out as, I don't know how to describe it, but it hasn't turned out the best or the way that I would have liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I take those initiatives, when I really put myself out there, when I like am doing the most, even like a little bit of success just feels so much more better because it feels like I have control over that situation.
Yeah. For me, in life, you know, I like to be a big believer in signs from the universe, and not really in like a practical, like, you know, religious, or not really in a religious sense, but in a practical sense. If I start to encounter, you know, an unexpected or something in a situation I was unprepared for, I often take that as a sign from the universe and a chance to reconsider whether or not that's still what I most want to do. And then like my motto for myself is, and this is part of the motto that made my high school teacher cry when I wrote an essay about it, and she gave me an A-, with this made me cry being the only feedback. But the motto was always try, never care. So it captures some of that of like working forward, you know, not just accepting reality, not giving up, but it really acknowledged that a sense that I don't have control over everything and that I should let life sometimes shape me places. And I also want to say a little bit about your friend's situation. You know, I'm the opposite. Though I do have some friends who are very supportive and very, you know, helpful in a practical way, because I have such a wide family network, I don't really, you know, search for that close, like super supportiveness in friends. Instead, I like the broad range of people. And like you, I like the intellectual conversations. So I search a wide range of as many intellectual, you know, conversations, interests as possible, because I just like spending time with new people, meeting new people, knowing what's going on in them. And, you know, that's not to say you don't enjoy any of that ever, but it's just a different focus in how we look for friends. And then, you know, in partners, the love languages test, you know, my biggest one is just quality time together.
True. Yeah, I know we are spending quality time together right now, so don't worry.
Tomorrow's gonna happen, folks. Any closing remarks, Ayush?
I think it was a really open discussion to have. I think it was really nice. And, I mean, everyone will continue down the path that they see fit.
And if you want advice, you know, I've been told I help calm people, and I think Ayush has been told he helps people get to good places. So
I don't know about get to good places. I am just very, like, oriented, so whenever people feel like a little bit
lost
off their track, you know?
Yeah, and I think if you got both of us, you'd be calm and on a new track.
On God, that would make me scared.
If they talk to both of us?
Yeah, because it's just like you're not committing. Yeah, pick one.
Yeah.
You can't have both of us.
Left Twix and right Twix ask you to pick
I'm a
a
left
side.
Twix, though. I'm a left
Oh my
Twix.
gosh, Ayush, it's a zip line.
Oh my gosh.